I sometimes, with a couple of the talks that we heard today, I actually look at it slightly in a different way. I liked the perspective on fisheries in saying that it's very similar to different parts of the agricultural sector. So there's some parts where forestry is maybe the right analogy, and another one it's more like growers. Another one it's maybe very different. As I mentioned at the beginning, from in the introduction to BEST, what we are keen is to actually not only look at these different types of partners, you could say, in research, so industry, government, and the startup sector that you all know about, but also looking across different industries. So for us, it's health, where I feel there's an experience. How do people that are experts, doctors, talk to maybe people that are more laymen? And I feel we have sometimes similar problems in agriculture, where you may have people that develop technologies and you have farmers that we want them to uptake. But we also start to look at the area of digital well-being and cybersecurity, because again, you have this type of interactions where there are innovations, but it's particularly important that they are used correctly. Like with respect to the talks that we heard today, I maybe being too much impressed by the work that we have done in the last about year and a half, to see how often it's really about trying to understand individual behavior and maybe helping people to use technologies to make better decisions. How can we support decision making by these tools? But then also trying to understand what's the role of organizations in achieving innovation uptake. In particular, what's the role of intermediaries? How can we ensure that they have the right incentives and they have the right motivations and the right tools to actually communicate the effectiveness of innovations to increase uptake that way? And then the last topic I heard a couple of times, whether it was Saga's talk about new food products, or now when we talked about fisheries, what are the community expectations? And to what extent can we actually understand and inform, influence community expectations to actually get a much more effective use of our resources? Interesting enough, like now we talked about agriculture a lot. Very similar problems come up in the health sector, where we talk about individual decisions of patients, but also of doctors. The role of doctors, the intermediary, but also community expectations. How can we use our hospitals in a better way? So what we try to achieve with this new bid that we are currently preparing for an Australian Research Council Center for Industry Transformation and Training, is to build these capabilities to apply behavioral economics, but also to achieve this type of transformation of the sector, to actually make it much more productive, much more profitable, much more competitive in an international sense, by really trying to understand these barriers and trying to overcome them, and trying to enable these different areas to actually learn from each other. So we will connect with you in the next couple of days, weeks, to see whether, with what we have discussed about today, whether you see parts of that where your organization could play a role in building this center. And the idea is really to create a platform to have more meetings like this, but also learn from each other, from the insights that we have, but also, and that's, I think, what we hopefully are good at the university, develop your own staff, or enable you to participate in workshops to actually build more of these capacities, learn about different industry cases, and learn for your own application with that. I think Anita will provide you with some more information where we are with this process and how you can get involved. And I'll leave it at that, because time is really short, and maybe we take the time to have a couple of questions. Anita, do you want to add something around this process, or?
No, I think that's fine. I'll send out some information in the next couple of days. I'll follow up with everybody, and also most of the presentations will be available on our website as well. And I know that there are a few people that contacted us to say they couldn't stay for the whole event, or that they couldn't make it at all. So I'll be sending out the presentations as well for those presenters that are happy for them to be shared, and the recordings as well.
Okay, all right then. Okay, well, I'm more than happy to have a few more questions or draw this to a close. We've been sitting down for a long time and broken every single health and safety rule in the book. All of the people in the BEST group are happy to answer emails. We're more than happy to set up Zoom consultations with you guys as well at a time that's mutually convenient. So that's easy for us to do. So Marette, yes?
Can I just ask if there's any clarifying questions regarding this center that Uwe just introduced? Because that's the incentive for the this workshop, is the fact that we're trying to set up this center. So if there's any if anyone has questions about that, it's probably efficient to address it straight away. And otherwise catch up with this individually.
Okay, well, I'd like to thank everybody for coming. This was an inaugural event for this particular program, so I'm feeling particularly relieved because I think it's always a good sign when you go over and people still are still hanging in there. Thank you to all our presenters. That was so informative. My brain is buzzing. I'm sure people will be in touch about the ITTC. Anita will be in touch with all of you guys. If people are keen, we can set up another sessions very, very quickly, specifically focused on the ITTC for those of you that really want to know more information about that. But I will draw it to a close now and humbly thank you all for attending and your contributions. Thank you.